So typically, most folks who get into banking or in some space of banking kind of stay in their lane. I am not a good stay in their lane type of person. I always got in trouble in kindergarten for not coloring inside the lines. So with that said, I want to give a little bit of my background. So I'm Jason Jones, Community Development Market Manager for Citizens Bank. But I've also been a successful entrepreneur. How many people, by show of hands or in the chat, have watched the show on oh my goodness, blanking on, it's not MTV, but well, Black Ink Crew, VH1. So season 1 and 2, there is his real name is Richard. But he goes by another moniker. But because his name is Rich, we had a clothing line called Born Rich. And if you look back on the first couple seasons, you'll see Rich or Born Rich. That was a clothing line from 4 principals out of Pittsburgh, Larimer area. So, so that was one situation, being a business owner. Also, I saw a few beauty salon owners. So I used to own a hair salon in Garfield. No, I don't know how to do hair. However, I do know business. And so with that, exited pretty successfully after about 5 years. And so when I say exit as a company, I built the company up to a certain standard and brand, and then I sold it. With that, have been successful in that realm. I also teach at community college here in Allegheny County in Pittsburgh. So I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Very familiar with actually Path Stone, previous world. I kind of worked with Jesse Von Toll's father. I'm blanking on his name, but so worked with Path Stone years ago. And so with that, have again taught at CCAC. I also do a ton of financial literacy classes here, and then with Citizens, and then I've been a funder and a lender. So I've worked for foundations, and I've worked for for-profit entities to lend to small businesses. So small businesses, my passion, my forte, my background. And then also being in community development has a space and element that we support nonprofits and organizations like Path Stone to bring things like this to you. So with that, just kind of wanted to give a little bit of a background, and then I'll give some tidbits along the way. But today we're going to talk about business operations. We'll go through some, kind of rules, regulations, and things like that, but I don't think it'll be too difficult. I'm pulling it up now. For some reason, that particular window is not showing. Okay, there we go. I had to. Okay, so can everyone see? Give me the thumbs up. Okay, good. So we're going to talk about, kind of business operations, and without that, how do you hone in your business and make sure that you're successful as an owner? There's a few other things, like I said, at the end of this that I'll kind of poke into. And then obviously there'll be some post work that you guys can work through for another session. I believe next week, Natalie will be teaching as well. So with that, you just have to really have a good understanding how to manage, how to forecast your business, manage your cost, understand the drivers of your revenue and profitability, have some exciting, interactive exercises that we're going to kind of go through to hone those skills. So let's look at the agenda. So it's going to be a lot. So in this, I know that it's a lot. Feel free to, and the chat is booming. I love it. Feel free to throw any questions that you have in the chat, and either Kim or someone will field it and stop me, and then I can answer some of those things. Or if not, feel free to unmute and just say, hey, Jason, and stop me. But again, some of the things that we're gonna cover are forecasting, supplier cost calculation plus supplier choice, revenue calculations. So, kind of introducing different levels to pull within a price, volume, impacts, income statements, gross margins, profitability, scenario examples. And Again, we're going to break into an exercise and get into a breakout room. We're going to talk about increased pricing and increasing volume, offering a discount. What sense does that make? Altering costs. Again, looking at your bottom line. And then we'll go through some more, and then we'll get into another breakout activity into groups and brainstorm for ideas of how we can use marketing tools for the juice shop. And we'll go briefly on what that juice shop is. Then we'll debrief. We're gonna cut out the hiring for the right spotlight. We're not gonna go through that, and then we'll go through some things that you can do post that you should have access to. So beyond that, does anyone have any questions, concerns? Good. So again, if it's possible, turn the video on. I love to see all of your beautiful faces and interact. It gives me life because, I'm not seeing you guys in person. So sometimes it feels like you're just talking to at a screen. So that would help me. Again, familiarize yourself, you guys. I believe this is the third session. So, by now you should understand the functionality of the chat, but do me a favor and type yes in the chat if you can hear music. Well, good. You guys got it. It's a nice little icebreaker. You weren't supposed to hear music. So I just want to make sure that you understood how to use the chat. And if you did hear music, you might be in the wrong session. Again, ensure that your connection is stable. So some really quick ground rules. We're in a safe zone. It's a safe space. There's no such thing as a dumb question. So please feel free to either, again, shoot it in the chat or unmute yourself. Again, be respectful, and you'll be respected by all your peers and, for your contributions. Again, please keep your video on at all times, and, muted if unless you're talking. It's going to be about 90 minutes. We're going to be in here, so buckle up a little bit. But other than that, we'll hop right into it. So the juice shop that I was talking about. So we'll look at some of the highlights of the juice shop. So it's located in Style West, a neighborhood adjacent to a metro area. Number of stores in operation, there's only one store. They're open from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. They offer orange juice. That's it, right? The cost of glass of juice per glass is $4. Primary customer group: local families, commuters who have access to a nearby bus and train stops, workers at nearby offices and sites. Secondary customer group: tourists visiting the city, local college students, fitness enthusiasts. Fixed costs: juicing, equipment, rent, insurance. And then variable costs are labor and one team member on a shift per shift, raw material, oranges. So before we go any further, who wants to tackle on, and I will call on folks as we go, so be prepared. Who wants to take on what a fixed cost is? Kayla, Kelly, Birch, do you want to tell me what you think a fixed cost is?
Would you like us to do the normal introduction that Ken had us doing?
Sure. If you want to give a quick introduction as I call on you, that's fine. That works.
Hi, my name is Kayla Kelly Birch. I'm with Inspire. We help party planners with cakes and treats by delicious masterpieces to fit their customary needs and themes.
Awesome. So your elevator pitch.
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Good one. Good. All right. So tell me what a fixed cost is.
A fixed cost would be a cost that you always need and doesn't change in price.
Typically or rarely changes, right? So juicing equipment, you're gonna, only need to typically purchase that once, probably, has a life cycle. So maybe once every 3 years, right? So that's fixed. Your rent's gonna be what it's gonna be. It may adjust once a year or every 5 years, or however you term it out. Your insurance is gonna be the same, right? It may, change, but it's gonna be what it's gonna be at least for a year. So good, Kayla. Thank you. Mildred Strader, care to give your elevator pitch and then let me know what a variable cost is?
Hi, my name is Mildred Strader. I am the owner of Universal Care Services. I help families create and maintain care plans and schedules to assist their loved ones aging at home. And variable costs are things required that are not necessary per se.
They're necessary, but they won't necessarily be the same. Is that, I'm sorry, I don't know if I caught what, I don't know if I caught the true essence of what you were saying. Were you saying that the costs aren't necessary, or that
they're needed, but they fluctuate in depending on salary, wages, and things like that?
Correct, right? So labor might be something that you have a certain fix around the same time, but you might get a juice rush at 6:55. Are you going to turn folks away? So there may be some overtime involved, or again, depending on how much you're paying one person as opposed to another, that could shift, how much one's working and one's not. And then raw material, obviously, oranges, you could have a pandemic happen and the price of oranges drive up, right? Because the cost of gas has gone up, or whatever the case may be. So those may vary in prices depending on where you get the oranges from, or how long it takes to get there, all those types of things. But good job, Mildred. Thank you. So now that you're all stepping into the orange juice shop, what business operations of the juice shop would be kind of top of mind for you guys? So let me count on Yasmin, or is it Jasmine or Yasmin? I'm not. Well, we're gonna give her a little bit of time now, because I think I'm looking at our sunroof right now. Tamara Robinson, or I'm sorry, Yasmin, did you?
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry.
So what are some things that are top of mind? Is it Yasmin or Jasmine?
Yasmin.
Can you give me your elevator pitch? And then what are some things that are, top of mind when you think of orange juice shop that you would need for business operations?
1 second. Let me open my notes. All right. So, hi, my name is Yasmin. I'm the owner of It Takes a Village Elderly Care. I work with middle-aged adults and elders. I help with non-medical home care services by providing cooking, cleaning, laundry services, and companionship. And the question is, what would you need for an orange juice shop?
Yeah, for business operations, that would be top of mind for you. And everyone else can throw it in the chat, your ideas, but Yasmin, you can say yours out loud.
Well, oranges, of course. Equipment.
Well, what kind of equipment?
Juicing equipment.
Okay.
Gloves, like aprons.
Somebody help her out in the chat?
Or you need more.
Yeah, let's keep it going. Let's see.
A menu.
Yeah, a POS system, point of sale system, correct?
Register.
Juicer, mixer, register, cups of ice.
Straws.
Are you going plastic or the paper ones?
plastic. I hate paper straws.
Cleaning supplies, menus, napkins, social
Yeah.
media marketing plan. Okay. All right. Thank you
Yeah,
guys. Thank you
all I
guys.
can- You're welcome.
Awesome. So with that said, we're gonna kind of look at a visual for our juice shop, right? You can see that there's a lot that goes into it, right? You know, again, into serving customers, running your business. There's certain steps like forecasting that you'll have to do, and the cost of calculation that you have to consider, right? So let's think of things, you know, to make that possible. You know, one of the forecasts are number of glasses sold daily. So on a high level, 200, your base maybe 250, you know, low 300, which I'm sorry, that it's too many screens going on at one time. So again, in order to get to supplies to customers, you have to, you know, get the oranges, put it into the juicer, then put it into a cup, collect the customers and pay your suppliers, and then you can calculate, you know, how many number of glasses you need to sell. So if your base is 250, and then for, you know, your juice gem, and 250 for organic or orange organic, you know, your raw material may be 1 and 1, but for the juice gems one, it may be $1, the cost of it, and for your orange organic, it may be $2. So in that, the raw cost of materials would be 250 for your juicy gems, and for your orange organic one, it's going to be 500. So then calculating the cost of sales. Again, the number of glasses sold, base 250. Again, you know, kind of rolling through those, it's the same in the line item, and ultimately the juicy gems, you're going to get C times D equals E, which is going to be 250 for the juicy gems and 500 for orange organic. And then step 6, analyzing your margins and the bottom lines. So your revenue would be 250 times $4, which is $1,000. Raw material is going to be 250 glasses times 1 orange times $2 per orange, and that's going to get you $500. And the gross margin profit is going to be about 50%, which is really, really good on a product, because typically you if you're making in between 5 to 7%, you're in a good space. So any questions on that? I know I went through that rather quickly, but I want to make sure that everyone understands that, or does anyone have any questions? Again, there's no real one size fits all for it. So, you know, again, you have to be comfortable with the gross profit margins, you know, and the revenue that comes with that. So forecasting, so as we mentioned, you know, in order to purchase the right amount of oranges, raw materials, you have to drive efficiency. So you need to forecast how much juice you're going to sell in the next period, right? So to do that, we're going to take the daily averages. So if you're a smart business owner, you're going to create a spreadsheet over time to try to get an accurate number as possible, right? So of course, you know, we're never going to know how. You don't have a crystal ball, so you don't know exactly how, but you know, you can kind of set it up from a high, base, and low. And sorry, I have to move you guys out of my way. and to ensure that we're using all the same inputs, we're just gonna assume the base for now, which is going to be 250. So feel free to play around with that. And then, you know, later you guys have access to a site. And then, so the base is going to be 250. We'll call period 1. And then we'll go ahead and fill in that. And then for the forecast following, we know how to prepare, you know, we know how to prepare moving forward. So the high is going to be 200, the low is going to be 300 for period 1.
Hey, Jason,
Yes.
there is a question in the chat. I'm sorry, I don't know if you addressed the one about going more in detail about setting GPM. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're fine. I'm reading it now. So.
And then there's also another one from Ashley. It says, if it's a service-based business and not product, would you still do daily, or would you suggest doing weekly or monthly?
Okay. So, and I can go back to, so what is your question on gross profit margin? Let me see if I can.
Shauna, you can come off mute, Shauna, if you'd
Yeah,
like.
you can just come off mute.
Okay. Hi, I am Shauna of Booze Beads. I provide body adornment, which helps promote women. Let me start over. Find my notes. 1 second. I want to get it right the first time. Okay. Hi, I am Shauna, owner of Booze Beads. I help women, sometimes men as well, so individuals, with body positivity and self-love through body adornment. So I do a lot of bracelets. I use special gemstones and waist beads and also anklets as well. My question about the GPM is, in your example, you have 50%. So as a new business, should we set a target amount to have like to reach a certain GPM, or should we just see what the best we can get depending on the market?
Yeah, so different things are going to be different GPMs, right? You know, that's just an extreme, and that's, you know, really good.
It is.
But, you know, sometimes, for instance, your GPM on gas, say if you own a gas station, might only be 5 cents or 0.5% of the total amount, right? So that's why we have delis or food markets or things inside of gas stations, because they're driving you there with the gas in order to sell you other things that have a higher GPM. So sometimes it may make sense to have something that drives folks in, depending on what marketing, what you're doing, to bring folks in, and then, you know, kind of sell them or upsell them something of other value.
Okay.
So there's not a set price. You just have to look at what's worth it for you.
Okay. And is there like a certain point that it would be considered to be unprofitable?
When you're in a negative, the moment you're in a negative.
So
Yeah.
as long as you're even at 1%, that's still considered a good profit. Well, not a good profit, but you're still considered profitable and you can pursue it if you would like.
Correct. Right. If it's
Okay.
worth it for you. So if you're selling something if you're selling something for $100 and you get, you know, $1 out of each sale, if that's worth it to you, then, you know, I would say do it. But, you know, it may not be worth it to you. So you have to, you know, if it's something that's going to sell a lot, then, you know, you could be good. If you could sell 1,000 of them a day, then you might be good.
Okay.
But if you can only sell 2 a day, well, you've only made $3, right? So that might not be good. So it just depends on what it is and the product and things of that nature.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. And then if it's a service-based business, actually, Ashley, if you want to come off mute and just ask your question.
Hey, Jason.
Hey. So you're asking if it's service-based, and not product-based, would I still do a daily, or would I suggest weekly or monthly? Are you asking a forecast? Are you talking about doing daily, or what do you?
Yeah, I was just seeing if there was other options for service-based business rather than product, if there was any difference, or is it still the daily?
I would say still daily, right? Because you want to break it down to a science to understand exactly what your numbers are. And that's going to help you later when you have to have a conversation with a funder, right? Whether it be a traditional bank like Citizens or a community development financial institution like Papstone, or just kind of when you have to have a conversation with your funders, they want to know that you understand where your numbers are. And if you could break it down to a science, from down to how much money you make, even down to the hour or minute, then it shows that you have a level of comprehension and understanding.
Very good. Thank you.
Good questions. So, I'm just going to kind of give you guys the table for revenues for your shop to generate based on the base volume of glasses sold per day, which was 250, right? So the price a glass per juice was $4, as we explained.
Sorry, forgive me. I have a question. I'm sorry. My name is Victoria. I'm the founder of the Pink Tub. We're opulent, organic, handmade body and bath brand. My question is there, I know in Excel you can have you have a formula. Is there a formula to get the GPM?
Yes. Sorry.
I'm sorry, forgive me.
No, you're good. You're good. So it's going to be gross profit. So how much you made divided by your total revenue. I don't have the Excel formula for it though. But I'm sure you can Google it, and I'm sure it's out there readily available.
Oh, I should just Google GPM?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much.
And the function of in Excel.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So 250 cups sold per day, for the first period. And then we'll run the numbers to kind of see what the total revenue would be, and that would be $1,000, right? So revenue equals price per glass of juice times volume. So we have two different types of juices here, right? There's Juicy Gems, so I kind of mentioned that a little bit earlier. And then there is Orange Organic. So Juicy Juice is more cost effective to your business. It's easier to transport, quicker to deliver, and it just has average flavor. Now the Orange Organic, a little more expensive. You have to sells out a little more quicker. People appreciate it a little more. And so you have to plan more for the future with that. It's organic and it's tastier. So in this, I'll pause for a minute, but if you guys want to, kind of, I don't know if you guys have calculators or what have you, but we can kind of run through this really quickly. But a number of glasses sold is 250, right, for the Juicy Juice, and that's where we kind of went through these numbers before. Same thing, 250 for the Orange Organic times 1 orange per glass, and then and we're gonna say A, right? So the A would be the number of glasses sold, B would be the raw material oranges per unit, and then the total number of raw oranges would be 250. And then the cost of it would be $1 for the Juicy Gems and $2 for the Orange Organic. So again, C times D equals E, right? So the equivalent of C, which is 250, times D, which is $1 for the Juicy Gems, is $2.50. And then the organic is $2.50 times 2, which is $500. So is everyone following? I just want to make sure, you know, I didn't lose anyone, because you can add these to how you calculate your business. So, okay, now that we went through those important calculations, we understand the model and revenue and our direct cost of oranges. If you think about the three financial statements, the ones there that we'll show right now is the income statement. Are you guys, and I'm not sure if Kim went over this over the other classes, but does anyone want to hop in the chat and say what the other two financial statements are?
We have a couple coming through.
Yep, P&L, balance sheet, so profit and loss, balance sheet, income statement. Right, and so an income statement, anyone want to hop in the chat and tell me, I'd love to hear from you guys, you know, why you feel like that's important. Why is that an important statement? Keeps track, okay. Anybody else? It lets you know how your business is doing, yeah. If you need a loan, it lets your VC know what kind of income is doing. Victoria, do you, can you come off mute and talk to me more about VC in your business?
The VC venture capitalist.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the time they want to see your income statement to see if they want to invest into your business or brand.
Right.
So you can get an angel investor to VCs or just VCs, period. It just depends on, sometimes you can get a business credit, a person that does just only business credit where they are doing a silent investment into your business.
Do you know the difference between a venture capitalist and an angel investor?
Angel investor, not really. No, not really. I can take a guess.
Sure, take a guess.
I think angel investor could be something similar to someone that's a silent investor, or that they don't want to be known, as opposed to a venture capitalist, that it's out there for the public. It's a PSA.
There are some VCs that don't want to be known. There's some angel investors that don't want to be known, but good guess. So I look at it like this. So venture capitalists, they kind of normally do larger deals, and they want to kind of quickly get in and get out. They want their money, they want to, you may be doing an MVP round, or you may be doing, just kind of making sure that your product has some valuability in the market, and you may need some capital to get to that point. And so they may come in for a piece of equity, and really kind of take a piece of your business, and they kind of want to get their capital. Angel investors usually do kind of like smaller deals, and they may take less, or they may take, they may just do a direct loan, to consumer. And again, it's another quicker in and out situation.
Learn something new today. Thank you.
Yeah. Yep. So the income statement is our scorecard, right, to our business. It starts with revenue at the top and then deducts all of your expenses coming through. So then you get your gross margin, that equals your revenue minus your cost of goods sold. So again, it provides visibility to how, Kim, I'm sorry, Kim, did you? Oh, okay. Provides visibility to how a business manages raw material goods. So that's you know, kind of the importance of that. So let's assume that the juice shop will sell fruit baskets as a holiday season special, right? And as an owner, you know, you're well versed in ordering and handling and selling your fruit. So you decide that for the holiday, you know, that's what you want to do. You put a sign in the window and anticipate that a high demand for the product that your core customers are going to ask for it, right? They're going to demand it. And based on some discussions you've had with them, again, they're constantly raving about all the freshness of your oranges. And so you think it has a real chance to be a success. So in the next slide, we'll look at the profitability example. So the price of the basket is going to be $30. The cost of goods is going to be $10 for the fruit, $5 for the basket. So it's $15. So what do you think your gross profit's going to be? Anyone want to shoot in the chat or unmute? 15, okay. Right, so your gross margin is going to be 50%. So everyone know how we got to that number? I just want to make sure we're good on that. Again, now let's say the following year, you realize that the promotion was successful. So you want to run it again. And only this time you want to upgrade your offering. So let's say we look at the competitors' prices in the area and talk to some customers and determine that we can raise our price. Where are some larger competitors or having, you know, prices around? So their price $35. So you may get a $6 basket. The cost of goods are going to be $15, right? So fruit's going to be 15. So now it's 21, and your gross profit is $14, and your gross margin is going to be 40%. So do you see how you upgrade it, right? And it costs more. So you're naturally thinking your gross margin is going to be better, right? But that's not always the case because the basket's bigger, you have to get more fruit, and your break-even point might be, you know, adjusted with that, and the profit's only going to be $14. So any questions with that? So which one do you think, you know, and it's a trick question, but you guys can put it in the chat. Which one would you rather do the next year? Are you going to do the standard or are you going to do the upgraded one?
Normal. Standard.
Mm-hmm. Reason being, and again, just kind of going through, it just breaks it down in the same formula as we had before. Again, revenue being for the income statement, revenue is $1,000. Raw material, so 250 glasses times 100 times 2 is 500. Gross profit 500. Gross profit margin is 50%. So I just want to just beat that into your heads so that you have the understanding. So when we look at a breakout discussion, so how can we increase our profits? What are some ways, type in the chat, do you think that you can increase your margin? Standard, better price, and better profit margin. Okay, but what are some specific ways that you feel like you could increase your gross profit margin? add more product. Okay. You can do an upgrade, but add different types of baskets. Okay. Doing the standard basket. Yeah. Or just doing more. So maybe marketing more. How do you grow it to $1,000? Cheaper suppliers. Now, does cheaper suppliers give you cheaper product and make customers less happy? Buy in bulk and discount for, yes, cost of goods. Yeah. So buying in bulk, you can have a conversation with your supplier. Okay. So what I'm going to do is break you out into breakout rooms, and you guys can kind of discuss that. I'll give you 5 minutes, and then you guys can kind of select the leader, and your leader will speak for you. So I'm going to break you into 2 rooms. Okay. And you guys will have 5 minutes. So break in, kind of speak to, again, ways that you can meet your goal for doubling your profit from 500 to 1,000. Again, consider levels of your revenue profitability and that we discussed already. So I'm going to open the room and now. All right, everybody back in. So team 1, who is your leader?
I believe I will be speaking for team 1.
All right.
And I can't see my face, but my name is Elise Irvis. I run a program called BLACC, BLACC, stands for Building Legacy and Celebrating Culture. We offer coaching, courses, and community for early stage CEOs of color to get them capital ready. Opportunities like this. So super excited to be participating. Our group, we had lots of involvement, engagement, and ideas. I think the top tier ideas we came up with, and we were trying to stay focused on the idea of not necessarily increasing volume, but increasing the margin profits. So the one idea we had was researching cheaper fruit and adding that to the menu. If there's cheaper fruit, we can sell at the same price or higher. That would increase our margins. We also thought about creating some sort of rewards program around a souvenir cup, right? So instead of coming every time and getting the same cup, returning customers would get, we would still be increasing the margins, but maybe we could still take off like 5-10 cents if they're bringing their cup back. And yeah, continue to create community around the brand. But those were I think the top 2 ideas that we had that would affect the margins most substantially. Hey,
Okay.
Lena.
Nice. I like all those ideas. Who's gonna speak for group 2? Who's the leader?
That would be myself. I am Deanna, the owner of the Bakery Store, LLC. We help bakers and treat makers of all levels with accessing high quality and unique baking supplies by offering competitive pricing both in-store and online. And we also have an interactive self-dispensing sprinkle wall.
Nice.
What we determined was basically almost the same thing as group 1. Basically, the 3 main components are to sell more, price higher, and to reduce cost. So to do so, we would have to offer more product in the basket to offer, to oversell the value of the basket. You know, this is worth 200, but we're going to give it to you for, 150 just to, offer more value of the product. We also did discuss Afterpay and Carvana possibly as an option if you're buying so many baskets at a time, so that way you don't have to pay that upfront cost. In addition to that, we also did mention the reusable cup. We didn't discuss like the pricing involved, but that kind of will retain customers and also bring in new customers, and also our branding would be expanded with having the cup out there in the public. Gift cards we also discussed, as well as a loyalty card and membership program, and to buy more in bulk, seeking out different vendors to offset different costs.
Awesome. Good stuff. So you guys kind of hit on all of that, but the first thing you want to talk about and that is price, right? So you want to ask, if the volume and the cost stay equal, how much would you have to increase your price in order to hit your target, right? So that's one thing. That's second would be volume, right? So we'll ask, if the price and cost stay the same, how many additional daily lasses would you need to sell per target, right? So if you already sold 250, you would probably have to sell 500, right? Or, and you guys kind of talked to that as well, offer a discount. And so, what would happen if you offered a 25%, discount? How many more units would you have to sell in order to meet your goal of making that $1,000? So, and again, on the next slide, we'll kind of break it down a little for some simplicity, but again, let's assume if we raise the price, the volume does not increase or does not decrease in exercise. In the world, it probably would, unless we're offering, upgraded product, but, we're going to kind of keep it simplistic. So if the base is 250, you raise the price to $6 instead of $4. I'm not sure what this crazy like yellow line is. Are you guys seeing the yellow line on the? So I don't know what that is. I have to. It's not on. It's weird. It's not on. So I have it on two screens. It's not on one screen, but it's on another. So I don't know what that yellow line is. But the cost is still $2. So then your daily revenue would be $500. Total cost would be $500. Your gross profit would be $1,000, right? And then your growth revenue would be 50%, bringing your gross margin to 66%. So if you raise the price from $4 to $6, that's what would occur. If you increase the volume, so you keep it at $4 cost, and then or $2 cost, $4 per cup, but you increased it to 500, then your daily revenue would be $2,000, right? And how much would your total cost be? Anyone want to take a guess at it? $1,000, correct, Mundo. Okay. And then your gross profit would be $1,000, right? Because it's 2,000 minus 1,000, which is 1,000. And your gross revenue at that point would be 100%. And then your gross margin would be 50%. You offered a discount, so you sold it for $3 a cup instead of $4. It still cost you $2. So how many units would you have to sell per day? So it sounds like 1,000 in order to get a total revenue of 3,000, and then the total cost minus 2,000, and then your gross profit would still be 1,000. So your gross revenue would be 200%, but your gross margin would be 33. So it looks like in this model, in this particular situation, it's probably best to just raise your price to $2, up $2, from $4 to $6, right? Or you can increase the volume and again do that, but offering a discount is going to cost you a lot more work, and you may not see the gross margin profits that you're looking for. Any questions on that before we move forward?
Could you go back 1 second? I need to fill in 2 more cells.
Sure.
Thank you, I'm done.
Mhm. So again, this just, oh, sorry, something came in the chat. Are you saying no to discount? I'm not saying no to discount. You just have to make sure it makes sense for your business, right? So you have to understand that the discount, you have to do 4 times the volume. So clearly, kind of increasing the price, probably the most powerful and driving the most profit growth.
There's another question, Jason. It says, what does it mean to increase volume?
So that's, having, just selling more cups per day. So if we were selling 250, we hired on another person, but we're able to sell 500 instead of 250. Good questions. Another question. Volume is product. Correct. Mhm. So knowing that the price is so impactful, as a business owner, you have to think about ways that you can improve your value proposition to your customers to justify the price over time, right? So by taking the learnings from the one that I'll just give you the answer because it's from module 1 and we're not doing module 1, but to really understand your customers and investing in your products and services, they need to be able to create more valuable products and to demand higher prices. You have to find a mix of how those levels and trade-offs work in the real world where your competition is. And always consider how moving them around, again, doing a simple analysis like we just did, might impact your business before making a sudden change of any kind, actually. So again, using your understanding of price and volume for the cost structure to make informed decisions. So with that said, there's some post work you're going to work with Natalie next week. So some questions to kind of consider in that. What cost should you be budgeting your business? And what are you doing to optimize every dollar that you spend? And then how is forecasting? How is your forecasting? Like, what steps are you taking to make sure that you're accurate? And then what else could you do to keep your customers happy? Loyalty programs, points, there may be a space for, it's in an urban area, but there may be a space for folks to kind of sit down and use Wi-Fi or things of those nature. And then the business module that you'll be able to have access to, you can kind of break down, again, kind of your upskilling program and really kind of look at what your business may need and then how much the estimated cost is going to be.
Ashley asked if you can go to the last slide for a second, please.
So what else can you do to keep your customer happy? Is that what you meant, or the slide before that?
Yeah, I got it, Jason, the keeping your customers happy. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So thank you for going through this. I'm gonna we can take, I know we've gone on for a little bit of time. I'm gonna stop here. We can take a 5-minute break, and then I'm just gonna kind of give some tips, tricks and things that I've learned along the way to be successful in business. And then I'll leave it open for you guys to ask some questions. So we can take a small break from 6:05 to 6:10, and then we can get the ball rolling from there.
Jason,
Yes.
that last slide, when you exited it, you were talking about how to cash flow in the first 6 months. Could you put that up before you walk away?
I sure can.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So, and I'm just assuming, but I'm sure Maria gave you guys access to the post-work stuff, right? That they can go in and play around with.
No.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll have her send that out.
Okay.
She'll need everyone's email, so you may want to collect that.
Okay.
And then you'll have access to a site that you can go from your phone or computer and really kind of play with numbers and do some of this post work stuff.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Jason.
So is this resource plan worksheet part of our homework?
Yes, so it's some stuff that you should do before the next class. But what we're gonna do is, it sounds like you guys don't have access to it. So I'm gonna shoot Maria an email to ensure that. So what you want to do is make sure that you get your email over, and that we can get that over to them, and then we can give you access to it.
Okay, perfection. Just want to make sure I heard that correctly.
Yep.
I'll send Maria an email right now with all of the emails then.
Okay.
Perfect.
Well, yeah, and just say, hey, can they have access to the BTS app? So
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
You could CC me on that if you want.
As always, I know some people have maybe walked away, but just please check your spam email and junk email, because we have that issue happening.
I will. I appreciate you.
Anytime, ladies. I see in the chat also, someone mentioned about not receiving the Zoom link for this week. The Zoom link is the same for every single class. There were also, there was a calendar invite that was sent out. So if you check your calendar, you should see that for every single Tuesday. Again, it's the same Zoom link. So just double check your calendars, whether you have Outlook or Google or iCal. Double check that. If it's not showing up, please just send me an email and let me know.
All right. So few pitfalls and things that I always tell business owners that I think could be valuable. So you may want to grab a pen and pad. As a business owner, through this business operations, you want to look at and understand your business, your numbers, good, bad, or indifferent, and be able to speak to them, right? So if the old adage is if you don't plan, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So with that, a business plan is important. However, there's two folds to that. Go out and do it, make it happen. Don't wait till your plan is so perfect to get it done, because it's going to be something that you're going to work on, and it's going to be a living, breathing document that you're going to want to use and utilize, right? And here's a tip and trick. I think a lot of times business owners say, hey, well, I don't really know what that is, and I don't know what they really want from me, and so I'll just have somebody else write my business plan for me. And that causes a problem for a major reason, which is, I could write you the best business plan in the world, but if you don't have, your time, energy, and effort invested into it, then, are you actually going to use it? Is it going to be a tool that you're going to, kind of use? More than likely not, right? Because you didn't write it, you didn't create it, it wasn't your thing. So, so there's that piece. The other thing that I want to speak to and think about so far as a business plan, inherently teaching and education, we typically get wrong, right? And the reason why I say that, historically, you study something, you take a test. If you fail it, you still move on to the next thing, right? There's only two places that doesn't necessarily occur in school, which is art and sports, right? Or gym. So I used to be a basketball coach, and imagine if I had a kid that I told them what to do in practice, they got in the game, and then I waited until the end of the season to tell them, I had a bigger kid, Jadale, who would always get fouled. So he would always go to the foul line. He would shoot with two hands. So two hands makes it impossible for you to truly control the ball. So are pushing with two hands. So shooting with one hand and using your left hand or whatever non-dominant hand is to secure the ball, and putting your elbow in an L shape and flicking your wrist gives you more control over the ball. But imagine if I waited until the end of the season to tell him that. How many games or points we didn't get because I waited until he failed to tell him at the end, right? So with that, it's the same principle with business plans. You're going to look at that quarterly, if not at the very least, or a very most amount of time you're going to take is 6 months. But you're going to look at that quarterly and adjust, right? Hey, is this working? Is this not working? The other thing with a business plan, you want to keep it tight and concise and to the point as much as possible. I think people feel like there's a number that funders want to see. So it's like, I'm going to make, you give me 100,000 this year, and I'm going to make that 100,000 $1 million next year in my, cell phone company or my Bell Atlantic company or my, whatever company it is. Banks and funders have been in the industry for long enough to know what those margins are. And so if you come with something so grandiose, it may knock you out of the park, right? You want to keep it, to whatever it is. If you're able to go, 5 to 7%, increase in the profitability per year, you're doing great. You're in excellent shape, depending on your industry, what you're doing, how you're doing it. But don't say you're going to make, 70% profit after 1 year and get up, that's going to kind of knock you out the box. So you want to make it as real as possible. And again, if you don't have, if there's some blemishes or things on your ability, your profit and loss, or whatever the case may be able to speak to it. Hey, a pandemic happened or this occurred. The more educated you are in having the conversation, the better. The other thing that I noticed in things that business owners ask, you want to make sure your personal credit is in order. I don't know. I know you guys are in New York. Here in Pennsylvania, you can if you can get get a credit ding because you didn't pay your parking ticket. So I've seen plenty of people who just didn't pay a parking ticket for $25 and it dropped their credit score X amount of points because of it. So you just want to make sure that you're paying everything on time and getting your things done as well. So that's one. Now, the thing you're going to really want to kind of write down, those are just kind of some tidbits, but the thing you're going to run down is quarterly. You want to meet with these people. You want to have a board of directors. You want to have people that you talk to at least once a quarter. One's going to be a mentor. You're going to actually have two. One is in your industry and one that's not in your industry. Reason being, the one in your industry, they're going to be able to tell you, what your pitfalls are. A good mentor is going to not give you the answers, but they're going to make you think about, what you're doing and how you're doing it. So if someone's been in the industry for 20 years, they probably had some ups, some downs, they know, when, and they can kind of let you know, hey, don't do it this way, or this is what I went through. So, be prepared for this when this comes. The other thing that I think we take for granted, and I mentioned earlier in our session that I owned a hair salon, right? And so in that, sometimes when we've been in the industry for 20 years, we get used to business as usual, and we don't necessarily question, why we do things a certain way, or do they still make sense? And so I'll come to this case. So owning a salon, had the couple stylists say, hey, we just have people come in, their appointment might be at 1, but they might not be seen until 3, right? And that's just business as usual, right? But I noticed something when I was younger and before I had kids and had a family. I could go to the barber shop and sit there all day because I didn't really have anything to do on a Saturday, right? Like, and so my time wasn't money, and I just kind of, hung out. Now that I have, family and things to do, and baseball practice and cheerleading and different things to get to, my time is money, is very valuable. And so in that, I will take a lesser or not so great hair, like I don't say a lesser, like can't jack me up, but I take a not so perfect haircut if I can get in and I know I'm going to get in at 1 and be out by 1:30, rather than I'm going to get the perfect haircut, but I'm going to get in at 1 and I'm not leaving until 4 o'clock. So with that said, I asked them, why are we doing that way? And they're like, oh, that's just business as usual. Our clients just get used to it. Well, what if they didn't? And if we're looking for a higher level of clientele, maybe folks, we could start off as people when we, had our startup and opened up, we could be their backup stylist, right? And so, hey, your stylist may be the perfect stylist for you, and you love them, but they take forever. So if you want to just kind of in between get things done, you can use them for galas or different, big events you need to go to. And eventually you'll get comfortable with us and you'll just keep coming with us. And I know that psychologically, but in that, what I did was to motivate my stylist to, set appointments up accordingly. You had a 15-minute window. So if your appointment was at 1, if by 1:15, you're not in cheeks and seats is what I called it, and at least being washed, shampooed, something, then we took a percentage off, and that percentage didn't come out of the owner's pocket. That percentage came out of the stylist's pocket, right? So you got a discount if you didn't. So that motivated them, and people wanted to come in to make sure, because they knew they were going to get their service done on time. I went from being in the red for 9 months to being in the black, just doing that. And it's because I did something different than what the industry was doing, and I questioned something in a way that I'm not of the industry. So I was like, why are we doing this?
Can you say that again? I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but can you just tell me that incentive that you just said again?
So if they weren't, I call it cheeks and seats. So if they weren't cheeks and seats and, getting washed or, being prepped or something in the first 15 minutes, and you can gauge in your own business if it might be 20 minutes or what have you, then we would get a discount. So maybe it's, 15% discount off your service for not getting you in on time. And from that, again, that percentage didn't come from the owner's pocket, it came from stylist pocket. And so then you start to see a stylist be more responsible with, okay, I'm not going to schedule 4 people at 1 o'clock. I'm going to schedule 2 at 1 and 2 at 2, and spice, kind of, and that way it flows a lot better inside the shop. There's not a bunch of people just sitting there looking at you. And then the other piece of that is people feel like they can get in and they can get out in a reasonable time. And if they didn't pay as much as they intended to pay.
Thank you, appreciate it. I'm trying to figure out how to get some incentives for my own staff, and I was just trying to see if that was one that I could use. So yes, thank you. I'll put that in my pocket.
For sure. So two mentors, those are 2 people you should meet with at least quarterly. The third person you should meet with is a business banker. So I'll put it in this perspective. Let's say you have a rich auntie who, is able to, if she needed to, cut you a small loan of $1 million, right, to get your business started. So if you only talk to her at Christmas time once a year to say, oh, Merry Christmas, Aunt Jane, when you do need something, do you think she's going to be able to really give it to you? Or if you talk to her at least once a quarter and say, hey, how are you doing? Checking in. I don't really need anything, but here's what's going on with me, what's going on with you. So then when you do run, that's relationship building into a snag, then you have the ability to, she should probably be more apt to give you the capital. Well, the same thing applies to businesses, small or business banking, right? Or a lender. So you want to meet with them quarterly, even if you don't have anything going on, because they may have something for you. Hey, here's what's going on, or here's what I see in the horizon. You can talk to them about what you want to do and how you want to where you see your business going. And the other thing that does is human nature, right? And it shouldn't be this way, but human nature is I'm going to be more compassionate. I'm going to fight for the people that I know. So Mildred has a business. I meet with her quarterly. When I go talk to my underwriters and they come back and say, I don't know, universal healthcare organ, they're kind of doing this and I'm not sure, and they're on the fence, I'm going to go and fight the extra mile, right? Because I know Mildred, I've talked to her several times. It's human nature because I know you, right? But if I don't know you that well, then my underwriter comes back and says, no, I'm going to go on to the next because, it's at bats in the sales culture. So you want to be, placing yourself in the best foot forward to do that. Chanel, you have your hand raised. You can unmute and ask your question.
Okay, so my question is, when we're checking in with our business bankers, what should we be talking about?
Sure. So hey, business banker number one, I want to take you out to lunch. Now, in that, more than likely, they're going to pick up the bill, but offer, right? That's going to change their perspective on you, right? And just kind of talk to them about your business. Hey, this is what I got going on. This is what I see in the future. This is what my quarter looks like. Here's what I'm looking to do in this quarter. What do you guys have coming up? So with that, the other, and to Tamar's point, utilize that relationship like this business is your baby, right? So I hope if any of you have gotten married or you date, you don't just, the first person that you meet, you're like, okay, let's get married, right? No, you date around. So see who's comfortable. You got to court, they got to court you. So, hey, what can you do for me? What's going on? Oh, tomorrow, I'm sorry. What can I do for you? What can you do for me? But make it a courting situation. In the moment that someone, isn't, don't be afraid to divorce or don't be afraid to walk away from the situation. There's a bank down the street or a financial institution down the street. But again, getting to know them, understanding what their limits are on their products, that's going to help you. So that's 3. Let me get through the 2 really quickly. So the last 2 are a business attorney. So here's one thing that I think about, and I think a lot of times small businesses go down this route and they think about it this way, and then it's like, so they're like, oh, my cousin's an attorney, or I know, he's a family attorney, so he should be able to help me, or this person is an attorney. So I asked this question in this vein. If you had a heart problem and you needed heart surgery, would you go to your PCP for that? Absolutely not, right? You're going to go to a heart specialist and you want to go to the best, right? Because they're the most up-to-date. Now, does a PCP understand in general what the heart does and those things? Yes, right? So it's the same thing with attorneys. So you can have someone who has a, understanding of what it is, but you want to go to a specialist that knows. And the other thing you want to think about, it could be a little bit pricey sometimes up front, but it could be way more pricier on the back end. So, you want to make sure that your documents are tight. You want to make sure that the contract that you're signing for a building is tight, because you want to know what your rules and what you're responsible for. I'm sorry, Dave I'm sorry, there was a bunch in the chat and I missed it probably.
He was just mentioning that the Western New York Law Center is a really good resource for small business clinics. So any kind of legal questions that you have, they're a really good resource.
Yeah. And then lastly, the last person you want to meet with quarterly is your CPA. And, you may have a bookkeeper and you may have a CPA and they may not be the same person. And that's okay. but you definitely want to meet with your CPA for a couple of different reasons. A, they see probably a ton of businesses and businesses that are in your industry. And so they can kind of help you with pricing, what's kind of happening, taxes, things that are coming up, and those types of those types of things. So you want to meet with them to just kind of understand, hey, you know, are there anything coming up tax wise that I need to know? What are you seeing in the industry? Is it going down? Is it going up? Should I have my prices correct? Are they on point? What should I do? So those are really good things to do. And the other thing with the CPA, the more that you understand, the more that you do, typically the cheaper they are per hour, right? So if you just hand them a shoebox with a bunch of receipts in it and they have to sit down and sift through and think through, it's going to cost a little bit more money, rather than if you have everything in order and you say, hey, check this out, it's going to be a little bit cheaper. I'm sorry, a certified public accountant. I apologize for using, if I use any acronyms along the way, because I've been doing this for 20 years. So just shoot me. But so those things are some of my tidbits and things, advice I'd love to share with you guys. So with that, do you guys have any other questions or anything that you liked or anything you feel like you're gonna utilize moving forward? You can unmute and chat it
I have a
out.
question. This is Shauna from Booze Beads. You did mention bookkeeping earlier. For those of us that want to do our own bookkeeping, do you have like any software you would recommend or any shortcuts for us to be able to do our own bookkeeping?
So as a citizens employee, I can't, I can't, but I hear that there are, you know, a couple of them out there. It depends on, you know, there's a ton out there. There's some popular ones that are green as well that you could use.
Okay.
Get the online version, probably not necessarily purchase it.
Okay.
Because with the online, you get the most up to date and it's the easiest to, it's more user friendly.
Mm-hmm.
And then when an update happens, you automatically get it rather than, you know, when you purchase it, you get what you got that day.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
Yep. So you guys can throw a couple in the chat and, you know, those are popular ones.
Yeah, I usually do it myself, but like I created an Excel, but I forgot you can't recommend because you are a citizens employee.
That I am.
But thank you.
Well, thanks for keeping me on my toes. Any other questions? I think Shamika has a question.
Yeah, I have a question. I was wondering, where could people find 2 mentors? I mean, I got a couple in mind, but I know some people that might have one, but might need another. The 2 mentors, people need to be able to find where they could find a mentor. Because I got one I just found, but I need another one. And business attorney, I mean, they said the law center. Okay, and I don't know what a CPA is.
A certified public accountant, I apologize.
Oh, okay, okay. And one more other thing now, I got basically 2 services and a product, and I actually want to do a nonprofit. So mine is kind of difficult to actually do this because the simple fact I've been with, I'm a home care aide. I just renewed my hair license. And I also sell Avon products, and I'm just trying to you know, trying to figure out how to, you know, how everything gonna be, because Avon usually do everything for you. They break everything down, the percentage and everything. So I know that's like not an issue for me. But as far as me coming almost 20 years of being a hairstylist, trying to do that again, and I worked at Supercuts, like they did everything for me. So it's like, this is something different for me, how to break things down if I haven't got back into it yet. You know, like I know I could reach out. And right now, I just sprained my ankle, but it's been a month, so I'm doing better. So I'm able to get around. So that slowed me down for a month. I just wanted to make sense on paper. You know, I just wanted to make sense on paper because I haven't worked in a salon, and it's been since it's been almost 15 years, I think, since I worked in a salon. So, you know, I'm just trying to figure out what to do. Need another mentor, you know.
So
What makes
to
sense
answer your
for-
question about the mentor, you have to do some research, but just look at somebody who's successful in the industry, right? Who's a salon owner or and then that you feel comfortable with. I wouldn't off the bat just say, hey, could you be my mentor? But hey, can I take you out for a cup of coffee? Let's talk, pick their brain a little bit and then say, hey, you know what, would you be interested in, maybe mentoring me? We can meet once every 3 months or so, or once every 6 months, and we can kind of chat. Here's what I'm looking to do. And a lot of times, which you guys rock, but business owners want to talk about their business. They love it. It's their passion. It's their babies. So from in that, if you get them to talk about their business and they love it. SCORE is also, a way to get a mentor. And again, I would maybe use SCORE as the mentor for that's not in your industry. And then find somebody.
I got one that's not in my industry, but being that I haven't worked in a salon in over 15 years, it's like, I reach out because they got share where I could rent a booth out. And that's the issue. Like you see, I got a mess behind me right now. Like I got salon equipment and stuff in my house, but with kids and grandkids, they always messing with my stuff. I'd rather be somewhere else. And I'm just trying to, I've seen the prices like the insurance, different prices for renting a booth. They got daily ones too. So I just, I've reached out a couple places, and I know I got to reach out being, being a healthcare worker certified with CPR certified. Like I got a couple things I could work with. I want to reach out with a couple people, couple hospitals and stuff like that. So it's kind of complicated. I just wanted to make sense,
Yeah. Another thing, tidbit, especially with the CPA, you want to make sure that you keep your business and personal stuff completely separated. You don't want to do any cross-pollination. The government doesn't like that. Fines get involved, and it's cheaper, right? If a CPA doesn't have to sift through what's personal and what's business. So you want to keep those things completely different. If you have multiple businesses, that's okay, but you want to have different business accounts for each of them. It's going to make your life easier, their life easier, Yep.
Shamika, just so you know, there are some links in the chat for you. So that might at least get you started on some of the mentorship help. In terms of, even if it's someone in your industry or not in your industry, at least you have some links there that'll help you get started. And then I think it's a good step moving forward.
Okay, thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
have a question for Jason. Is there a way that we can get in contact with you if we have like any specific questions or just like quick guidance on something?
For sure. I'm just going to put my contact information in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
Also, thank you, Jason. I did want to let everyone know that after this session, we do have mentorship available for financial, basically today's session and next week's session. I'll just put in our mentorship request form in there. So just so you know, like I know Jason went through a lot of information. Obviously, he put his information down there. So if you need to contact him directly, but we have someone on the call as well today that's kind of been in the background, and he's been in our previous She Means Business course and some of the other workshops that we've done. So his name is Dave Krause. If you see that, probably the only other guy outside of Jason in this call. But him and his business partner, they own New Level Strategies. And they've, like I said, they've worked with Pastone for years now. So they help basically business owners like yourselves. They help develop financial plans and budgets, forecasts, setting up your accounting systems. They also provide business coaching and, basically guiding you through your marketing efforts. So just so you know that resource is also available to you. It's free of charge because it's Pathstone that's basically working with New Level Strategies for this particular program. So all you have to do is click on the mentorship request form. I put that in the chat. And then just fill it out. It's super quick, and at least we can get you set up and see how much time we can allocate depending on how many people decide they want some mentorship in that area. So just so you know that resource is available to you as well.
So
have a
that's all
question.
I have. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to ask or reach out.
I do have a question.
Sure.
Is there anyone who can assist with starting a business account with Citizens Bank?
Yes, I can have someone reach out to you. And the only reason why I'm saying my hesitation is not that we can't do it. We obviously can. I'm in Pennsylvania. I'm in Pittsburgh. So I'll have someone from Buffalo reach out to you. So, actually, you have my contact information. If you could shoot me an email, and I can connect you to someone in that space to help you open up an account.
Okay, and I'm in Rochester.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Mommy.
All right.
Any other questions for Jason, ladies?
I got one question, being that he worked for Citizen Bank. Okay. Now, one thing, like I said, 20 years of, hairstyling and all this stuff for the last year or two, COVID, it helped me, get on these social platforms, see what's kind of going on. But the thing is, when I first got on Instagram, I found a friend that I thought was a celebrity that sent me a check, and they sent me a check, and it basically shut my Citizens Bank account down and told me that person wasn't my friend, and the check was a fake, and I can never be with Citizens again. I'm like, are you serious? I used to have a business account with Citizens, I don't know, 20 years ago. This happened maybe 5 years ago, and now I can't get with Citizens no more, because of somebody else, I guess, these hackers, and I learned the hard way. So now I can't get with Citizens. Is there any way to reverse this?
Some of your contact information, maybe I can, I can see what I can do.
These hackers.
But you have to be very careful with those types of things. If you don't know the person personally, and sometimes if you know the person personally, I still wouldn't cash the check.
Yeah, but I just thought it was a celebrity, and I thought it was somebody I trust. But I know about the blue icon stuff now. My IG got hacked last year, so I learned about the hacks and tricks now, and they're still trying to get me every day. But yeah, I got your information. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, going once, going twice. Anyone else questions?
My email, I believe.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
I didn't see your email in the chat. It's in a previous email.
Yeah, that's
okay. Yeah, David sent it. Thanks, Dave.
Perfect. Here's mine as well, just in case. So if we don't have any more other questions, I will follow up with everyone. Give me about 5-10 minutes, and you should receive an email from me with today's presentation slides. I'll put the mentorship request form link in that email as well. And then I would say by tomorrow or 48 hours, we'll have that access from Maria for the BTS. And I think that's about it. Again, before we close out, any other questions, ladies?
I have a comment, not so much a question.
Sure.
And this is Leila Kelly out of Anderson, Indiana. And for Indiana people in Anderson, in the Enterprise flagship area, there is a organization called Bankable. And it's for those who are new business upstarts who may not be able to get traditional financing for their business concept and business ideals. You may want to reach out to them. They have lots of resources to help new startups, especially minority business.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for that information, Leila. All right, so Yasmin asked, is the homework the 2 worksheets from Maria? So Jason, you said the information that you had in the slides was part of the homework along with what Maria was going to be sending over, correct?
Yeah, but it's in what Maria's gonna be
Okay.
sending, so you don't have to.
Gotcha. Okay, so just wait for that. Like I said, hopefully within the next 48 hours, you'll get access to that. If you don't see anything, again, please check your junk mail, spam mail. Worst case scenario, still don't receive anything, please email me and I'll make sure to get that out to you if for some reason it's just not being delivered to your email. Here's my email address. It's in the chat. Please copy that. And I think we're good. So ladies, you have about an extra 45 minutes of time back for you. So thank you, Jason, so much for your amazing presentation, and everyone have a great night.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you, guys.